Hello, Professor and classmates. I'm Amy Fuller, and we are going to be doing the movie assessment of the leadership environment in the movie The Crimson Tide. In today's fast-paced and ever-changing work environment, it is vital for us to know and understand the different types of leadership and followership that are to influence and inspire greatness within an organization. Today we're going to do that by looking at and analyzing the Captain Ramsey and Lieutenant Commander Hunter's leadership styles in the movie Crimson Tide. We'll also look at those that they have that I would prefer to emulate and those that I would prefer not to emulate. We will also do an assessment of a scene in the movie that will help us dive deeper into the followership styles that are discussed and played out in the movie and how they relate to the leader. To start, we're going to look at the core leadership style of Captain Ramsey. He, to me, in my opinion, is an autocratic leader. And this is a leader that makes decisions without asking subordinates' opinions or suggestions. The followers really have no influence on the decision-making process. In this movie particular, him as a captain gives him a position of authority and the military protocol that lends its hand to this type of leadership. He believes in strict command structure. His word is the final word. He doesn't really want input or to be challenged. We see this throughout the movie. That he also prioritizes his own personal convictions and his experiences over collaboration and others' perspectives. He had been on the boat for many, many years, been a captain, done a lot of things, and he thought he knew what was the right thing to do. Some examples of these behaviors in the movie that stuck out to me were the after the fire scene during the drill, Captain really shut down Hunter's concern that the fire could still be going. He even told him later, "Don't question me in front of the crew members. You need to wait, either bite your tongue or tell me in private." That's how strict and rigid his approach was, very dictatorial and not flexible. He also, during the scene with the gun to Weep's head, the one that had the code, the combination for the safe for the firing pin, it was life or death. You either tell me this, you do what I say, or I'm going to kill you or a crew member. There was no out for that. So we could see that Captain Ramsey was definitely a autocratic, you're going to do what I say leader. Now, and kind of opposite to that, the core leadership style that I believe Lieutenant Commander Hunter, to me, he was more a participative and situational leader. Participative is like they allow followers to contribute to the decision-making process. They really care about their suggestions, their ideas, and want to consider them when they're making a decision. And then a situational leader, they adapt their approach to each different situation and employee. It's very flexible. You can give the right level of support to the needs of the different employees and situation. A few examples from the movie that portray this is the fight between the two crew members. He was very direct and very authoritative in, this was not okay behavior. I don't want to see this again from you, but I also understand your perspective and that, you really weren't right in this situation. He took control when he needed to, and he stood up for what he believed was right and best for the crew, the boat, and ultimately the world. He did not want to go to, in nuclear warfare over a mistaken order. Another situation that was poignant to me was his motivational talk with the communications repair crew member who was fixing the radio. He really took the time to go down there, see what the problem was, give him a motivational speech, and let him know how important and critical his role was in making this correct decision for the mission. Just really speaks loudly of the character of Hunter's leadership style. that leads us into the leadership style that I would want to emulate, and that would be that of Hunter. I would be more towards the situational leadership style, and that's for many reasons, but a few of those at the top of the list would be that there's increased motivation, increased performance. It's a group teamwork effort, and that enhances team dynamics and is a greater for employee development. Which leads us to the one that I would not want to emulate, which is the autocratic, like Captain Ramsay. There's a lot of burnout, decreased morale, low satisfaction and motivation by followers in this leadership style when it's used continuously over and over. There is a time and a place for it, but not necessarily all the time. Going into the types of followers, this is also important as well for us to understand the followership styles. We learned about 4 of them. That would be the alienated, the conformist, the passive, and the exemplary. Today we're going to focus on the conformist style because I believe that was portrayed the most in the movie. And this style, the style of conformist, is a follower who actively does their task and they follow orders. So the scene that I picked was the first attack with the missiles being fired at the sub. Captain Ramsay gives direct orders and the crew actively and precisely follows those orders that leads them out of harm's way and avoids a close call impact. To me, this was an appropriate interaction between leader and follower for the situation. It kept everyone safe and kept the boat from being damaged. You kind of see that the autocratic leader and the conformist follower fall hand in hand with each other, as one is giving orders and the other is completing the orders. So to conclude, we will recap what we've learned today, and that was the leadership styles of Captain Ramsay, the autocratic leadership style, Lieutenant Commander Hunter, his participative and situational leadership style, which one of those that I would prefer to emulate, and also, and very importantly, the followership styles that were depicted in the movie and how it relates to leadership. So now it is time to go out and change the leadership landscape of the future generations, using all that we have learned throughout our coursework and putting to practice the skills that we have developed to be great leaders. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this discussion.